I had this little man to tell me something. It's been about a month ago. He woke up. He actually woke up that morning very sick. And when I was questioning him about what was going on with him and things like that, and looking him over, trying to see if he, what was going on with him, he told me that he actually got sick in his sleep, and he said, I was dreaming and had a bad dream, and I got sick in my dream, in my sleep. He said, even when I woke up, I was still sick. He said I was sick from it. So basically, there really wasn't anything else going on with him to be found other than his state of mind. And I was asking him, what was going on? What was he seeing? What was he experiencing that was happening in his sleep that made him feel so bad? And he started telling me, he said, I was walking in my sleep. And he said, I was just walking in my sleep. And this little man, he always goes in bulldog gear. He's real slow and steady. He's slow as he can be. Doesn't even talk much. Doesn't really interact much. He loves to I guess just to sit around and be a part of everything, kind of like a bump on a log. He likes to watch everything, and he's seeing these days go by, and he's enjoying being with people, even though he doesn't interact much. But he's not really an educated man, and he doesn't read. He's not ever been big on reading or anything like that. But he said that as he was walking in his dream, he was walking towards a field. He could see a field. He said that in the middle of the field was this tree, and it was huge. He said it was so big. He said it was just so big, and it kept getting closer and closer towards the field. He said, and as he was approaching it, before he ever stepped in the field to enter it, he said that he was looking at how those branches of the tree just kept going and going and going, like the Energizer Bunny tree. And there was so much excitement, he was just amazed at this tree. It was an imagination he had never seen before or had never visualized, and to him it was just spectacularly wonderful. And he said on the trees, branches, he said on the tree it was like bushes. He said its branches had bushes on them. He said it was literally bushes growing on the branches for leaves. And he said that you didn't need a ladder to climb up to reach the branches. He said they were so low you could reach up with your hands and touch them. You didn't even need to climb the trunk. He said you could just reach up and touch them. And he said as he was coming to the field to go in and was entering the field, he said it was absolutely loaded. He said the tree was loaded with fruit. He said it was covered with fruit. He said all different kinds of fruit on the same tree. On the bushes were these fruits. He said, and they were so big. He said they were large, huge fruits. And he said they were all so ripe. He said they were every one ripe. He said they were beautiful. And he said their color, everything, they were perfect. And he said I was thinking, I'm looking at him about how I wanted some fruit. He said wanted some of that fruit, but he said there were so many of them. He said being so large, he said he was trying to figure which one he would want because he knew he couldn't eat much. And he was looking at the plum, and he said he was thinking in his mind, I'd love to have a plum, one of the plums. I believe that's what I want. But he said he was looking and noticing also that there was a vine that grew with the tree. It's like part of the tree grew up from the ground with the tree and was up the trunk, going up the trunk. He said the vine even grew out and was wrapping and crawling out on all the branches to all the bushes. These bushes on the branches for leaves. They were actually bushes. And he said even coming out of the bushes where the fruit and everything was these vines coming even out of them. And he said, but as he was looking at this and watching and looking at it, studying it as he's walking to it, he saw through the bushes, the tree, the branches, the other side of the field, the opposite side of the field. And he said he noticed there was someone else who had come in the field. He said it was a young man. He said there was a young man who come in there. He said a young, strong man. And to him, a young, strong man. That could be middle-aged for him, but there wasn't anyone else in the field but him until this man entered. And there wasn't any other trees but that one. And he said that the man come up to the tree. Of course, he made it to the tree before this man could ever even get to it. And as low as he was going. But he said the man didn't pick any fruit or anything. He said he just walked up to it in front of it, and he said he stuck his hand into the tree, the branches, and grabbed hold of the vine and pulled and jerked, turned the vine, jerking it, pulling it away from the tree, jerking it towards him and just pulling at it and jerking hard. He said just really violently jerking it. And when he did that, he said as heavy as that fruit was and as ripe as it was, he said the shaking of it like that, it was breaking the fruit away from the tree, and the fruit was falling to the ground. And he said he just stopped when he saw him do that. He said he didn't want to move at all. He said it almost made him afraid, because it was almost like there was a sense of violence, a sense of danger that come from that, somebody to do something like that. It was so unreasonable. You couldn't eat that much fruit. You couldn't carry it out by hand. He was just wasting it. He said it was just bad. It was bad all around. But he said that everything grew black. He said out from the tree came this blackness. He said out even the fruit that had fallen to the ground, he said it turned black, and it even came up black off of the ground. And he said it was just spreading out all over the field and moving out from the center where that tree was out throughout the field, like dispersing. And he said as it started fringing out, getting closer to him, he said that there was living things in the blackness. He said the blackness was living things, and he said they were like monsters. He said they were monsters. He said they were bees. He said they were this monster size, like they were hornets. He said they were so big, everything. And he said there were some of them that had touched his arms, had got on his arms, had touched him finally, and he said they were stinging him in the arms. And he said that it was just so painful, so horribly painful. It was terrible. And he said that his mind started screaming at him, flee, flee. And he turned to run out of the field and to get away from there, and just to leave from there, get away. And he said even as he was leaving, the bees were stinging him in the arms. And he said but it was making him physically sick, nauseous, and just very sick. From the stings themselves was making him sick. And that he started saying out to the Lord, basically. He said, oh God, what man could stand this? What man could stand this? What man could stand up to this? And he knew in his heart that that man was dead, that there was no way he could live through being in the center, in the very midst of that, and that he could survive it. And that he woke up feeling sick, even still sick as he came awake, but even sick at heart to think of such a devastating, terrible tragedy. Something to think about. Be gracious, be very gracious and considerate of the spirit of grace and truth, with respect and happiness and delight and grace. Always grace. He's very serious and sincere in all that he does. Have a blessed day.